Finding the hidden camera tucked under the bathtub was terrifying. But my son's tearful explanation wasn't about some sick game. It was about a mission to reawaken a part of me I thought was lost forever. The jigsaw puzzle on our kitchen table had stayed the same for weeks, and I was getting worried. These days, Drake rushed straight to his room after school and shut the door firmly behind him. That is, after coming home later than usual. I stirred the pasta sauce and checked my phone again 6:45 p.m. 2 hours late, just like yesterday. Through the kitchen window, I watched our neighbors walking their dogs and laughing together. Our house used to buzz with that kind of energy. Now it felt like Drake and I were living in separate worlds, connected only by quick hellos and leftover dinners. Did this happen to all pre-teens? A few minutes later, the front door creaked open. "Hey, Mom," Drake's voice floated through the hallway, followed by the thud of his backpack hitting the floor. "Kitchen," I called out happily. "Dinner's almost ready." He poked his head around the corner. I saw his messy hair covered by a backward baseball cap. Something about his eyes made me feel like my boy was back, even for just a second. But they soon darted to the floor when I looked at him. I knew something was going on, but I had no idea how to address it. My boy almost seemed older than his few years. "Sorry I'm late. Chess club ran long." "Chess club?" I raised my eyebrows. "Yesterday it was math tutoring, and Tuesday was yearbook committee." "Oh yeah, I do all those now." He shuffled his feet. "Can I eat in my room?" "Got tons of homework." I gripped the wooden spoon tighter, accidentally dripping tomato sauce onto the stovetop, and decided enough was enough. "Drake, what's really going on?" I asked, turning and putting one hand on my hip. "Nothing. I told you, just busy with school stuff." He shrugged and moved further into the kitchen. Without meeting my gaze, he grabbed a plate, scooped up some pasta, and disappeared before I could press further. I sighed and wondered to the heavens for the millionth time if I should intervene. Maybe I wouldn't get an answer from up above, but I could try to find some of my own. I checked the hallway, and his door was shut as usual, but he had left his backpack in the living room. It was my chance. Inside, crumpled between textbooks, I found a piece of paper with an address scrawled in unfamiliar handwriting: 1247 Maple Street. "Don't be late. This is it." What was going on? I wondered, horrified. That night, I found myself going through his old baby photos, spread across my bedroom floor like pieces of a life I barely recognized anymore. There he was, 2 years old, grinning with spaghetti sauce all over his face. That happy little boy used to tell me everything. Now he barely looked at me. The parent-teacher conference from last week played in my head. "Drake seems distracted lately," Mrs. Peterson had said, sliding his failed math test across her desk. "He's been falling asleep in class. When he's awake, he's always scribbling in his notebook, but it's not notes from the lesson." How could he be getting a grade like that with math tutoring? Was it time to pull the plug on all other clubs? Either way, I knew sleep wouldn't come, so I decided to take a shower. The bathroom was my sanctuary, the one place I could relax and belt out old songs without anyone hearing. Tonight's selection was "Sweet Child O' Mine." The steam rose around me as I hit the chorus, and I remembered how I used to dream of being on stage. "Where do we go now?" I sang, letting my voice soar like it used to at the coffee shop open mics when my future hopes were far grander than what reality allowed. Sadly, those wishes were extinguished the moment Tom, Drake's father and my ex, left us for his new family in Seattle. But now wasn't the time to dwell on the past again. The present was much more important. I finished cleaning myself up and exited my shower. As I dried my hair, I felt the pull on my ear and heard a clink on my tiled floor. My earring. I bent down to get it and saw the crystal's shining light reflecting from just under the bathtub. Except, something else caught my eye. There, hidden under the edge, was an old Nanny cam I used when Drake was a baby. And it was on. I immediately went pale. My hands shook as I took it and carefully wrapped myself in a towel to march straight to Drake's room. The sound of his furious typing stopped when I pounded on the door. Just a minute, he called out. And I heard drawers being opened and shut. What in the world? Drake, open this door right now. Finally, I heard footsteps and the door swung open. He stood there in his oversized gaming headphones, and his own face turned white as soon as I held up the nanny cam. Drake, what is this? Why was this hidden in the bathroom? I asked, as my anger and bravado turned to extreme worry, and even disgust. When he remained silent, I gulped and asked, have you been recording me naked in the bathroom? His eyes widened at that. His expression was terrified. Oh no, Mom, you weren't supposed to find that. It's not what you think. I can explain. Then start explaining. I pushed past him into his room and looked at his computer. The screen showed some kind of video editing software. No. But before I could panic more, Drake spoke. He slumped onto his bed. You weren't supposed to find out yet. Find out what? That my son's turned into some kind of... I couldn't even say it. No, Mom. Listen, he pleaded as tears welled up in his eyes. Remember when you used to sing at the coffee shop open mics? Before Dad left. The question caught me off guard. What does that have to do with anything? You were so happy then. Now you only sing in the shower. When you think no one can hear you, he wiped his nose with his sleeve. But you're still amazing, Mom. I wanted to show you that. He reached for his laptop and turned it toward me. His fingers pressed play, and suddenly the screen showed me. Well, a music video. I saw a sunset over the city and streets filled with people chasing their dreams. But the main part was the soundtrack with my voice clear and strong. It was playing my way. I met an old man, Mr. Arthur. I've been going to his studio after school, Drake continued. He's been teaching me video editing. I wanted to surprise you for your birthday, show you that you shouldn't give up on your dreams just because your father left. The words stuck in my throat. He owns all these old instruments and he lets me practice drums while he teaches me about making videos. Drake's words tumbled out faster now. I've been doing extra chores for neighbors to pay for studio time. Mr. Arthur says I have a good eye for it. Why didn't you tell me? Because you worry about everything now. His voice cracked. Ever since Dad left, it's like you stopped believing in good surprises. I thought if I could just finish the video, show you how amazing you still are. Tears welled and fell before I could stop them. All this time I'd been so worried about what he was hiding. Never once did I consider he might be worried about me too. You could have just talked to me, I said softly, wrapping my arms around him. Would you have listened? He looked up at me, suddenly seeming older than 11. You always say you're fine, but I hear you crying sometimes. And you never sing anymore, except in the shower. I pulled him close, feeling his thin shoulders shake. I'm sorry, baby. I guess we've both been keeping too many things inside. We stayed in silence for a few minutes before I remembered something. Oh, is Mr. Arthur's studio on 1247 Maple Street? Yes, Drake said, but then frowned. How did you know? In the interest of honesty, I began and confessed to rummaging through his backpack. Shockingly, we just laughed at each other. The next day, we visited Mr. Arthur's studio together. He turned out to be a gentle giant with calloused hands and kind eyes, surrounded by dusty guitars and vintage recording equipment. Your boy's got talent, he told me, and showed me more of Drake's videos. And so do you. And now that the secrets were out, Drake and I finally finished the jigsaw puzzle together. I also sang outside the shower for the first time in years. What's more, next week I'm singing at the coffee shop again. My son will be there, recording every moment. This time I won't be afraid of a little camera. Here's another story. They say trust is the foundation of any marriage. Mine was built on quicksand. A single hidden camera video from my husband's secretary was all it took to make everything sink. I wished it had just been an affair. But the truth was far more shattering.